we are going to talk a little bit about portfolio construction. And why I think portfolio construction is very important is that this will enable us to plan our investment strategy. And as some of you may know, if we don't plan, we're basically planning to fail. Most things, when we start anything, we need to have a vision. For an example, say assuming right now we want to bake a cake and we do not have any experience at all. Say one day, mom or our significant other came up to us and asked us to bake a cake, right? So I think if we bake a cake without having a recipe, what's going to happen is that we're going to just take a bunch of random ingredients, maybe a bit of salt, maybe a bit of vinegar, maybe a bit of flour, so on and so forth. And then we just put some water, we mix it up, and we get like a very vinegary and salty cake, right? That being said, however, if we have a recipe, if we start by downloading a recipe, and if we follow the recipe step by step, knowing what particular cake that we want to bake, right? Say assuming on Google we type cake lapis or maybe butter cake, right? So based on that, we first need to have a vision, right? And then from that particular vision, then we have the step by step of achieving that particular vision. So in that cake example, if we do not have a recipe, right, it's basically like creating, or it's basically like investing without a proper plan. If we don't have a proper plan to invest, what's likely going to happen is that the results is going to go all over the place. So in order for us to even have a vision and have an end goal, I think what's very important is to remember this particular acronym, which is SMART. S stands for being specific, M is being measurable, A is being actionable, R is having something reasonable, and T is a good timeline, right? Most times when I talk to people that wants to start investing or have already and is beginning their investment journey, I ask them, what's their goal for their investments? And they tell me that they want to be rich in 10 years, right? So when we were to look at the SMART acronym, it does not fit that criteria. And in fact, being richer in 10 years, maybe this could mean another 10 ringgit, or maybe this could mean another 100 ringgit, right? And this particular goal is not clear. So when you have unclear goals, the action also will be relatively unclear. So that being said, let us assume right now we have a particular goal that we want to make 10% in 1 year investing in a particular asset class. That in itself is a very tangible goal. So remember the acronym S, which is specific, very specific, we want to make 10%. M, measurable, the particular returns or ROIs that we want to get is 10%. A, later we'll talk about the actionable item. R, which is realistic, make sure that the timeline or make sure that the investments is relatively reasonable. And T, it needs to have a time period, right? So when we have all of these 5 elements, this will make the goal much more tangible. And it's the same with any plans, not only our investment plan, but also baking a cake. So all of them, if we have a plan, the chances of success is much higher. Assuming right now, if we want to have a fast growing portfolio, the action plan is to buy a lot of stocks, which has high potential in income growth. That being said, if we want to have a portfolio which is relatively safe, this is where we will invest more towards blue chip stocks. And if you're wondering why isn't someone invested only in high growth stocks, that way their portfolio will just keep on compounding and compounding and compounding and they'll make a lot of money. The whole thing of it all, sometimes growth stocks, they could be small cap or mid cap. And when you invest in a small cap or mid cap stocks, sometimes they may have balance sheets which are not as strong as the blue chip stocks. So when their balance sheet is not as strong, what's going to happen is that if there is negative news, you will see that the stock price can some days go up by 10-20%, but some days it can go down by 30-40%. So the movement for small cap and mid caps are relatively volatile. And if we are retiring or we don't have a big risk appetite, what's going to happen is that we may feel afraid of the movement of that particular stock, and this may result in us selling the stock at a loss. So right now, let us assume that I want to invest maybe 500 ringgit and I want to make 10% from that particular investment. So what I'll do is I'll break up my stock allocation into 3 buckets. The first bucket is big cap stocks. This is to ensure that the portfolio is relatively stable. The second bucket is the small cap stocks. This will give me the high growth. And the third bucket is also the mid cap stocks. And what I like about mid cap stocks is that they have 2 attributes. Number one, they have a better balance sheet when compared to the small cap stocks. And the second thing I like about mid cap stocks is that some of them, especially those which have high income growth, this can be categorized as growth stocks. So among the sectors which I'm looking at is number one, the healthcare sector. This is where it's relatively defensive. So even though the economy is doing well or not doing so well, if someone is sick, they don't have a choice but to seek for healthcare. And that's one of the reasons why I like healthcare stocks. The second bucket, as I mentioned, will be growth stocks. And amongst the growth stocks which I'm looking at this point in time is the renewable energy. And as you watch a couple of my older episodes, one of the stocks which I'm actually looking at, which I'm not recommending to anyone whatsoever, is Pekat. And the third stock which I'm looking is both defensive and both growth, is Lei Hong. Again, not a recommendation. And why I think it's growth is that whatever it is, people will continue eating. And what they do is they are involved in poultry, eggs. And I can see that even though the prices of eggs went up, people are inelastic in demand. And why I say it's growth, when looking at the latest earnings, it's relatively encouraging. So for the 500 challenge, what I have done, as I mentioned, I bought a little bit of Pekat. Again, not a recommendation. You will notice that the acquisition price for myself, it was 40 cents, right? But since I bought Pekat, so the acquisition price or the average acquisition price has rose from 40 cents to 83 cents, right? That's the first thing I bought. Second thing I bought was Lei Hong, right? Again, none of these stocks are recommendations. Rather, this is what I bought. I think I bought it for a more expensive price. Right now, the average acquisition cost is 37 cents, and right now it's 40 cents based on market price. And the fifth is KPJ, right? I bought it for 193, and right now it's 219. So all in all, I have not done the math yet, but yeah, out of 3, all of them are making money, which is relatively encouraging.